Well, how you doing? This is Memorial Day. I hope you're having a great Memorial Day weekend. And we're back to the Tecsun PL-606 radio. And as I mentioned in the previous video, it comes with this funky looking antenna. And you will not believe how long it took me to figure out how to attach this antenna. I looked at the manual, and unfortunately the manual that I printed out from the internet, this particular section about the external additional antenna was still in Chinese, so I couldn't read it. But there's not much to read. It just says connecting the external telescopic antenna to the extend the length of the built-in antenna to further enhance the FM shortwave reception. See below. And it's got this little diagram. And for the life of me, I could not figure out what this diagram was telling me because I had a misconception. And misconceptions can get you in trouble, which this did. So initially I thought this black section here was like a coiled section. I have some antennas similar to this one that's got this little section. The other one I have is a little smaller, and what it is, it's a bunch of coiled up wire to make the antenna look longer, which is typically what you need for a shortwave receiver, because the built antennas are typically not long enough to match the frequency of shortwave. So that's what I thought this was. So I thought this was, since it came just like this, with a little bit showing here and a lot showing here, and then this is extendable, I thought this was a section of coiled wire and it wasn't movable. Well, it turns out that's not what it is at all. The first thing I attempted to do is figure out how to get this antenna that comes built into the radio or attached to the radio off so that I could use this antenna. And so, I tried pulling on it and everything very gently, and I couldn't figure it out. Then I looked at the pictures and I looked at this, and it's like, what is the heck is going on? So then I noticed there's a screw right here. So I took the screw out, and this antenna comes out, but it has, on the bottom, it has a flat section which the screw goes into. And this does not have that flat section. So that wasn't it. So I spent 15 minutes trying to realign this thing so that the screw would go back in. What a dummy. So anyway, I thought, okay, well, that's not it. So I was like, how am I going to get this to go onto the end of this? And it's got a rounded end. And it's like, I don't understand. It's like, that can't get that off. That won't uncrimp there. So I finally sat down and just stared at the little pictures here, wherever they went. I stared at these pictures as a matter of fact, I put them under a magnifying glass. And it shows, this is another thing that's confusing, is it shows this black part on the first picture by itself, without the telescopic part even there. So I'm like, does this come off? So I loosened up this end here. It was really hard to turn, to loosen up. That's why I thought it was all one molded piece. But lo and behold, if you try real hard, it comes off. Boom. Comes off. So then I looked at the picture again, and it shows, you can't see very well, but it does show this little plastic piece down over this piece. Let me move the camera up a little bit. So, like as I said, all right, let's stick this on there again. It fits really snug. So there. Okay, so now I made my radio look like the first picture. Then it shows this plastic piece here completely off. Yep. Well, it doesn't slide completely off. So forget that idea. That ain't going to work. Probably will if I really, there we go. I turned it and now it's coming off. And I don't need to take it all the way off. But anyway, that's like what they show in a picture, is this piece completely off of this piece. And then you stick it down on top of the other antenna. And then you bring this little plastic piece and you tighten it back up again. So you got to push it up. You got to push it against this little tip. And it turns out that that little tip, I push this back out again, oops, is curved so that it mates with the end of this external additional attachment. So that's the key. So put the plastic piece back over here, and then I'll jam this up against that, and I'll push this all the way down to, matter of fact, I'll push it down inside a little bit. Doesn't really say how far. And then you tighten that plastic piece back on, and guess what? It's loose. So that's not the way to do it. So this is as far down as this top section will go. So I need to loosen this in so it's not too tight. There, I loosened it. So now this can slide freely. Then I push this down. Whoops, I got to have this plastic thing on first. This plastic in. I push this down, and then what I'm thinking is I pull this up inside there, and I try to push it. Let's see if it'll go. Now I'm going to break in this thing, I know. Okay, there we go. I got it completely off now. Now, and that's what it says to do. You know, it shows to do. As a matter of fact, it shows taking this other end off. Now then push this, just the plastic part, down over this, and it won't go any further. It goes right to where the first section meets on this thing. So I'm not going to push it any further than that. Then I slide this piece back up, and I tighten it up as tight as I can get it. And it feels pretty snug. Okay. It's a little wobbly, not too bad. So now I take this section here and I put the plastic end back on, and I push it down as far as I can and kind of hold it down, and then tighten this one up. And the idea is that the tip of this piece is contacting the bottom of this piece. That's the idea. I don't get a warm feeling that that's working, but that's the idea. Now what I could do is I could, I don't want to do that. I could say I could measure continuity here, but then normally when you're measuring continuity, you're putting a voltage across two wires or a zip resistor to measure resistance. I really don't want to put a voltage directly into this antenna. So I'm not going to do a continuity check. I'm just going to assume this is making contact. So now I'm looking at the configuration. And the configuration is I've added this extension. Let me get back a little bit. I've added this extension, but I have the main telescopic antenna completely collapsed, so I don't get the advantage of extending it. So let's think about that. Let's take it loose. Okay, I'm going to take it loose right now. Boy, I think when it tightens up, it really tightens itself up. So let's look at this antenna, built antenna, how long it is by itself. Okay, I've got to extend it out, and I'm going to get a ruler. I'm going to measure it. Try to measure it. Okay, whoa! The thing is, with this little small base, having a telescopic antenna out makes it pretty wobbly. But anyway, here we go. So right there is 15 inches to there, and another 6 inches. So 15 and 6 is 21 inches. So this antenna, the built-in antenna, gives you a length of 21 inches. Now, let's see what happens when I collapse this and I attach this external antenna very carefully, because you can easily snap off this connection right here. So you got to be kind of careful. I'm thinking long term. I don't think I would fool with this thing, because I'm kind of worried that I would break something. So then I tighten this back up. And it's pretty snug. Now let's extend this guy and see what's the overall length now. It looks like it's a little longer. Now we're going to measure it. So it's 15 right there, and it's about 15 more, so it's 30 inches. So I gained 9 inches. And whoops, let's close the door on everything. So now I've got 30 inches approximately, where before I had 21. So it did extend it. It does make it pretty wobbly, and oh boy. So I can't get it back far enough that my camera would see it. But anyway, now instead of having the built-in 21 inches, I've got maybe 5 or 6 inches plus another 25 inches to give me a total of 30 inches. Whether it's going to help that much, I don't know. Typically what you want for shortwave is you want feet. You don't want inches. So using this, especially when you're outdoors, this wire antenna, which is probably 25 feet, I'm guessing, is going to help much more than just extending that internal antenna. So anyway, I just want to show you how you get this antenna on, what it actually is. I don't think it's going to improve the performance that much. I was thinking that this plastic section here was actually a set of coils, or coiled up wire, to make it look even longer, but it's not. So you're just taking the basic antenna and you button up this extension against it. That's what you're doing. You probably do just as good as taking a piece of wire, say 30 inches long, for instance, and just clipping it to this main antenna. Probably work just as good. And this really makes the radio kind of a little top heavy, and possibly you could break off this bottom piece. Now what I have done for a quick extension, let me take this off because I don't like it on there. I'm not going to use this, so forget that. I'm not going to use it. What I would do if I wanted to do something like that, I would put this down, and then I would get a piece of wire, say 25 inches long, not 25 inches long, say 3 feet long, and I would have an alligator clip and just clip it to this right here, or clip it to this end. A lot less likely to break something. Or better yet, since this antenna, this radio has an external antenna jack, and they do provide you with this external antenna, this is what I would use. Again, it's probably not going to work that well inside your house with a lot of RF noise. Well, of course, neither will this. So this will be great for outdoors, even if you just go in your backyard and sit on your patio. This is really going to help reception. And I will be doing some more testing of this radio as far as some of the functions and reception. So probably have 2 or 3 more shows on this radio, the Tecsun PL-606. Gosh, I got through the whole video without calling it a 660. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We're heading for 5,000 subscribers, by gosh. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.